But it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you guys today. I have Harriet, Jess, and Bellini from the band Häxan. Welcome.
Hello.
Cheers.
Sorry, is that did I get that wrong?
No, well, Bellini is a stupid nickname you've been giving me on Zoom. I didn't actually realise it was still there. So
Okay, well it's still there.
Yeah,
So
it's not only there, it's in capital letters as well. So
it
you
is.
I don't have my glasses on. I can't read.
That's all right. All right. Well, I apologise for that. But
Oh, that's fine.
we're going to leave it in because I don't like to edit because it takes too long. So, but good on that. Well, first of all, we've got you here today to talk about Total Rock, which is a station I work for. I'm their sort of head of social media and whatnot, and I also have a show on there as well. But yeah, you're basically you guys are playing our 21st birthday party, which is happening at the in Nambucca in London, North London, and there's an absolutely stellar lineup. You've got Mike Gray, you've got Dead Man's Whiskey, you've got yourselves, Häxan, These Wicked Rivers, and there's one more.
Sweet Crisis.
Sweet Crisis, yes, thank you very much.
There. Well done, Jess.
I had them memorised, but doesn't matter. Hello. No, I'm not going to start again. But yeah, you guys are playing. You actually requested to play this show, and we'll get onto that in a moment. Just on the reasons why. But first of all, what I want to do is sort of find out your kind of history, if you have any, with Total Rock itself, the radio station. Kind of over because it's been around for the last 21 years. It's been supporting rock, metal bands, independent, unsigned, as well as the sort of the majors that are still around. But yeah, how did you guys sort of like hear about Total Rock and your sort of like any kind of history with it?
Total Rock actually picked us up a long time ago when we had an EP out, before we even had an album out, and started playing some tracks, maybe even before we changed the band name. So it's going back quite a while, in the very, very early stages of the band. And I've been sort of following it on social media since, catching the show as and when I can. But as you said, it's a nice mix of new and old and established and unsigned and stuff like that. So it's a great place to go to check out sort of new music and like coupled with the heavyweights to sort of make it interesting listening, really.
Cool. How about you other guys?
Yeah, I suppose my first with Total Rock was probably with the album, because I wasn't in the band when the EP and all that was done. So when we released the album last year, Total Rock were always behind us. Gave us a really nice review, if I remember, which was lovely. So yeah, we're really happy to be involved with the party and to be playing the show.
Excellent. And
yes, I mean same thing. Is my mic on?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of always been. I don't want to say in the background like it's a bad thing, but we know that Total Rock has always kind of got our back, sort of thing. Whenever we release anything, do anything, talk about anything, we can kind of rely on Total Rock to get it out there, talk about it, and they're a good solid foundation for anything that we want to do.
Excellent. Well, that's good to hear, because that's kind of what we're going for. So, we want to be supporting. We've always been like, when I was in a band when I was younger, they supported my band. This was back when they, like 20 years ago when they started. And like Malcolm Dome and everyone like that were very, very supportive of what I was doing with my group at that time. And it's great to hear, because I've only been a part of it for the last, I think it was 8 years. I think I worked out 7 or 8 years now as a sort of like show DJ, and then more recently as part of their social media team. And it's great to be part of that core people, because that belief is still there, that support is still there for those bands, and it's great that you're experiencing that. And that's absolutely kind of is what we're going for. It's what we want to have. We want to support new bands, independent bands. Obviously the established bands, they keep you kind of there because they're like, that's what people kind of want to hear, but we want to feed people music like yours so they can find you guys and find something new on that front. So cool. onto the show itself, the 21st birthday at Nambuka. What have you guys kind of got in store for that one? You, obviously, you know, what are you looking forward to? I should probably say, because you probably got your set list kind of down at this point. Well,
you would be wrong to assume that.
Okay, all right, this could be fun. So what could we expect from you guys?
I mean, obviously, we're going to be playing tracks from the album, because that's sort of what we've been focusing on post lockdown, because we released the album during lockdown, so it was really nice to get out and gig something fresh, even though we released it sort of a year prior to being able to gig. So our set list is pretty much consisting of album tracks, which weirdly people know better than we do, which is lovely. But we're finding that so many people are singing the words back and stuff like that. So yeah,
It's
I think
pretty weird, because I think Nambuka was the last gig that we played before lockdown.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Okay.
Braria.
It was Braria.
Yeah.
That was when we were taking the piss out of the pandemic, thinking that it wasn't actually going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Turns out we were wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
We were wearing bras as face masks.
Oh, brilliant.
And so that, I think we probably pay homage to that, and you know, bring it back and be like, didn't get me because of my bra.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah. No, I had a thing that I was I posted up on social media. I was DJing a nightclub, and I was like, "Virus? What virus?" And then the next week, everything shut down, and I saw
basically
it popped up
exactly
on my feed
the same
later. Yeah, it popped up on my feed later, and it's just like.
I think it was like 2 days after shit started really hitting the fan.
Yeah.
But obviously 2 days prior to that, we were posting that we were operating on Harriet to get rid of COVID and just
been kid nuts, if I remember correctly.
Brilliant. Oh well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the show. I will be there roundabouts at some juncture, so I'll come over and say hello. But onto, like, you requested to play the show as well, which was kind of cool, because we kind of had like a lineup sort of coming in, and I believe you guys actually requested to play, from what I've been told anyway. Is that true?
Maybe. I think so. There's a lot of stuff going on.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. If you've got someone who books stuff for you, don't worry about it. It's all good. But no,
the thing is, that is the exact thing, is that we don't have an agent. We do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
So we definitely pride ourselves, some especially, on essentially, if you don't ask, you don't get. And the reason that we've been so successful is because we've got no issue with approaching people and saying, put us on, we want to play. We don't go through anybody. No one's taking a cut of anything. We do everything ourselves. And although maybe I think we probably asked to play it, the bill was already full, maybe somebody dropped out, and then we were then approached to fill in. Our name was around because of the fact that we'd approached somebody and asked to play. And that is the case with, you name it, from playing in at Download, playing at Bloodstock, playing in Australia. We've never had any help. It's always been us. And so, saying that we've we asked to play, we will always ask to play. We've got we're not expecting people to come to us. We are very passionate about putting ourselves out there and almost demanding to play and things. We think we do deserve to play at these big big events.
Yeah.
We're so proud of our album and the work that we put in, that it's doing ourselves a disservice not to ask.
No, that's awesome. I love that. It's showing a lot of, like, the hustle, I guess is the word, but it's just a lot of bands don't realize that hustle, or don't have that, like, inkling. They look for the agent. They look, like, constantly, like, when they're just formed, they're looking for a manager, looking for an agent. And I've seen this on many times, and I've told every single one of them, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to go. You've got to be your billboard, if you will.
Exactly.
At the start, you wear your merch yourself because no one else is wearing it. So people see it and they want it. They want to wear that.
We've got stickers plastered all over our car, and so when we're stuck in a traffic jam, we'll be screaming out the window to the guy next door to us, saying, "Google our band."
That is,
really
yeah,
good.
that's happened.
No, that's awesome. I love that. I love that work ethic when it comes to music, because you've got to put yourself out there. It's not something that's going to happen to you. It's something you've got to make it happen. So
we were talking about this while we were on tour as well, and a lot of bands, especially when they're just starting out, see it as a bit of an ego boost and an ego stroke to be approached by a manager or an agent. And I think that it's lovely, and don't get me wrong, like, it's lovely to have somebody behind you that's not directly affiliated with the band that's passionate about it. But at the end of the day, you're kind of cutting a lot of the income, a lot of the credit that you can do yourself. We've said, unless someone can offer us something absolutely rock solid that we haven't been able to do ourselves, we're not interested. We don't need an ego boost. We haven't got egos. We can do it ourselves.
Not only that, no one cares about your band as much as you do. So I think, like, and we're all in this together, the three of us are thick as thieves on stage and off stage, and no one's going to care as much about this band as we do. So we should champion it, I think.
No, definitely. I'll find out from you guys, just for my viewers and listeners and whatnot on the podcast, is just a bit of the background on you guys. I know you gave us a little brief during the Total Rock segment, we sort of like the support wise with an EP, a different band name, stuff like that. But yeah, this is your chance just to sort of like give an origin story, if you will, because I know you guys have been around for a while, but there's going to be some of my viewers and listeners from various parts of the world that may never have heard of you guys, believe it or not.
Scandalo.
I know, but this is your chance. So this is this is your chance. So what is your origin story? How did you guys come to be Häxan?
I actually met Harriet about 8-9 years ago when she posted an ad on Gumtree looking for a band, and we were looking for a bassist. So I messaged her, and lo and behold, she came to Wales, I think the very next day, from Cheltenham, and we hit it off. And my dog at the time literally got her into the band, and that's not even a joke.
Nice.
He did, didn't he?
I slipped him a fiver and a balloon. Nah, but yeah, so that was back when we were solely a covers band, really. We were doing Queen and AC/DC, Susie Quattro covers, and we were just, three little girls that would go around bike clubs and kind of be a novelty act. But it's kind of like what you were saying in regards to having the bigger bands to kind of keep people here, and then put in lesser known, unsigned, undiscovered bands, because we kind of started to slip in our own original material in a cover set, so that people would be kind of forced to listen to our own stuff in a cover set, which worked quite well. But then and then when was it, 2018 Jess joined?
19, yeah, just over 2 years ago joined.
Do you want to elaborate on that, Jess? Worst time of your life.
Yeah, no, I can't get rid of them. Well, they can't get rid of them again. Don't know which way around it is, but
cool. Well, no, that's cool. And what are you guys like? What have you got out at the moment? What is your current release that you are?
Our debut album is out. It's a year old. But like you said, we weren't able to gig it for a year because of lockdowns and everything that went along with that. So we've only actually started gigging it the last 2-3 months maybe. And it's so nice to be able to sort of play fresh material, but simultaneously, like I touched upon earlier, it's lovely that people actually have taken the time to learn it over lockdown and know the words and requesting songs. And when we're saying the names of certain tracks that are on the album, you can hear people in the crowd like, oh, yes, like that one's coming up, which is lovely.
I should probably mention the album's called White Noise.
Yes.
So like static white noise, and Häxan, because it doesn't happen a lot, but there are like a couple of bands called Häxan, and if you don't know about us, we're not difficult to find, but Yeah, it's a white cover with 2 cats on it.
Okay, cool.
So that's it's on everything: Spotify, iTunes, YouTube.
Fantastic. Everyone, go stream it. Go download it. Go Bandcamp. You guys on Bandcamp, I take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, go buy it on Bandcamp, everyone. Bandcamp Fridays. It's a big day for independent bands. So
yes,
huge. Do that. So with obviously, I've spoken to a lot of bands over lockdown. Affected everyone in very different ways. But obviously, you said like with your music, you released the album a year ago during a lockdown, wasn't it? At that point, I get confused of where we are in the year. Were we open at that point, or were we closed when you released?
It was July last year, so we were definitely still. Half of us live in Wales, so we were very much locked down at that point.
I was going to say in Wales, you were So how did you approach that, like releasing at that time? Because like I said, I spoke to a lot of different bands. A lot of them approached differently. A lot of them delayed albums, just purely because they couldn't play them. They didn't have any other kind of like promotional output of such. So what did you guys get up to? How did you sort of weigh up the time?
We did kind of say should we, but obviously we had no idea how long lockdown would last, and we didn't want to kind of disappear. We built up so much momentum from gigging for so long, and we been telling people there was an album coming, and if we just disappeared for a year, it would be much harder to then go, okay, here's the album. So I think we wanted to keep hold of the momentum we built up and carry on with our plans. And I think, to be honest, it probably worked out quite well for us. We'd love to be able to gig it when we released it, but I think it kept us sane having the album out and being able to still push that and have something to do with the band and not just sit in our houses wishing we were doing something. So I think it worked out well.
And how did you handle the sort of like the social media side of things during the lockdown? Like a lot of like groups like did live streams or Q&As, stuff like that. Did you guys do anything like that? Because I'm sort of trying to gauge what a lot of the bands got up to, because obviously I saw some things, saw bands do live streams, all that kind of stuff. But what about you guys?
We played Quiplash. We played there's like a stupid like online game thing so essentially our online presence has always been not terrible but certainly lackluster, and it felt very forced to do, there were people that were kind of asking us to kind of do live jams and live streams that way. We did do a Q&A when we first released the album, of basically, have you got any questions about the album? We essentially, the day it was released, we all got together and
we did the playthrough, didn't we?
We did like a playthrough and kind of people listened to it, but that was the only really musical thing that we did. Otherwise it was literally just playing this game that people could log on to and write silly answers and make each other laugh. But yeah, musically wise, no. I mean, as I say, I've said this a couple of times, but over lockdown, I was sapped emotionally of any kind of motivation to play, to be honest, because I just at one point there just didn't seem like there was going to be an end to it. Didn't seem like there was going to be, and if I'm not in the mood to play, I don't want to play because it just gives off a terrible energy, and I wouldn't really want anybody to see that.
And not only that, we'd never played the album live, and we wouldn't want that to be the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just would have seemed very disingenuous and kind of like we're doing it because everybody else is doing it, and that's not what we're about.
No, we're very much a sort of live band as well, and I think we're really passionate about the first time we played the album. We wanted it to be in front of people, because it took us so long to get an album out because we were so busy gigging. So I think that's where our sort of heart is playing live. As lovely as it is to have an album out, our heart is sort of live music and playing in front of people and being on stage.
Cool. That's awesome.
But even playing the quiz, I think, helped build a fan base. Because it was involving people who got to see like sort of an insight into our personalities, sort of away from the music and stuff like that, and just how stupid we are. And I think it came across as endearing and like a sort of, they're just real weird people.
Yeah, and people have come up to, that have been playing those games, have then subsequently come to the gigs and been like, oh yeah, remember when I wrote penis as that answer or something like that. And then it's like it makes them feel like our mate, which is all we want at the end. We just want to play to our mates. So
that's cool.
Great.
That's awesome. Well, I've got a couple of questions left for you, if that's all right, and I'll let you guys go. So what I want to get from you guys is one. I usually ask for 3 each, but I'm running very low on time. So what I'm going to ask you for is your one most pivotal album. So the one that made you want to be in a band. What was that album for you individually, obviously? Unless you'll share the same one.
I can whittle it down to one song that solely made me want to be in a band. And it was the first time that I ever heard Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. And ironically, it wasn't even Led Zeppelin. It was a cover band playing it. And I heard the riff and I was like, what the shit is this? And I asked them what the song was. They were like, it's Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. So then I started listening to Led Zeppelin. And that was the sole reason that I actually started learning guitar and then fell into a band and stuff like that. And it was that song by Led Zeppelin.
Nice. Excellent.
Mine's kind of similar, not an album, but a song. And mine was, I went to Paris, to Disneyland Paris, and I went on Rock and Roller Coaster, which is the Aerosmith ride, when I was 12. Yep. And so I came home, and the first thing I did was turn my computer, went on Yahoo Music, and I typed in Aerosmith, and I listened to Love in an Elevator and Do It Like a Lady. And I was just like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And I played drums at the time, but not really. But then it made me really, want to actually put effort into it and be in a band. And then it just led on to, Motley Crue and Alice Cooper and Guns N' Roses. And now here we are.
Excellent. I love that ride at Disney, by the way.
It's great, isn't it?
I have to be really greedy because I got 2 albums.
So you can take
I'm filling the gaps from those 2. But Ian Gillan, Glory Road, and Razamanaz by Nazareth are the 2 albums. Very old. Very old.
Very similar.
They're 70s albums. But yeah, I remember my dad having them as a kid and the actual records, and just being absolutely fascinated by the covers, like the actual artwork, album covers, and the kind of diversity between every song, and really just listening to the bass lines. That's when I first kind of came online to bass, I suppose. It's like, okay, there's actually like there's a reason that these songs aren't just guitar and vocals and drums. There's you can really pick out the bass lines in them, and you take them away and they don't exist as songs really anymore. So yeah, definitely those 2.
Excellent.
I mean, I think that's quite true with us as well, Harriet. If you take you away, we don't exist as songs. We don't exist as a band.
Well, get used to it because I quit.
Exclusive right here on. No, sorry. But yeah, on that bombshell, I'm gonna say goodbye. So Harriet, Jess, and I'm gonna call you Bellini again because it's. Thank you very much for this. I look forward to seeing you at the TotalRock birthday show at Nambucca in London, Holloway Strip, whatever. Yep, that's the area it's called. But yeah, thank you very much, and good luck with everything.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. Bye.